Yo, what's up YouTube? Tigz here, bringing you guys another Escape from Tarkov video. In today's Tarkov video, we're going to be talking about the flea market, but before we get into that, just wanted to say thanks for all the support on the most recent video. That video blew up, a lot of people really liked it, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for all of the, positive stuff that came from that, which has now led to this video, talking about the next topic, which is the flea market. Before we get into it, one more thing. This is hypothetical, guys. Please, I'm not telling BSG you need to do something, I guess I like, perspective that kind of feel like would be cool for the game. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying BSG should put this in the game right now, okay? This is just something to talk about. It's a topic of discussion, their opinions, if you don't agree, give your opinion in the comment section, stuff like that, okay? So let's talk about it. It's the hot topic, the flea market. Right now, the community split. Why? Half of the community wants the flea market to be removed, and half of the community wants the flea market to stay. So there's a lot of different things to talk about with this topic, and it's not a simple one, and I'm not really a game dev, so I don't really, know the fixes for stuff like this, but I played the game a lot. I feel like I have kind of a fair assessment of this topic, stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, it's just an opinion. So what is the flea market? Flea market, basically, for the people that don't know, if you do watch my stuff, you don't play the game, it just allows you to grab items, sell them on the market between players. It's a free market. You can flip stuff, you can make profit from the things that you find in raid. It adds a lot of value to finding rare stuff, because when you list on a flea market, someone might need that for a quest or a trade or, whatever it is. It's really cool. It's really fun, and a lot of people like it. And it's really good for casuals. Why is the flea market good, and why is the flea market bad? So, overall, the flea market is good because what that allows people to do, if you are in a limited time to play video games, the flea market allows you to speed up the progression of your character every wipe, so you're not just like in a slug constantly trying to just do your quests. It gives you a bit of leniency when it comes to like keys, which is really, really nice. You can buy the keys through the flea market, you can sell them through the flea market, make profit from them. You get access to guns that you would be able to craft for your gunsmith quests, all of the attachments that come with that, which, by the way, if you were to farm them yourself in raid, would take tens of hours to find. And overall, it just makes the progression of the game a lot more accelerated, but also more sustainable for the casual audience of people, which in my opinion, I think is the majority of people on this game. Overall, I think the flea market is really good. But I do also think that something needs to change with the flea market, given the topic in the community right now. As you guys know, with this wipe, there was no flea market for 2.5 weeks. And in my opinion, I didn't really care, because I play the game a lot and I'm open to change and try and do new stuff for fun. And I actually did enjoy no flea market. The reason being, it prolonged the early game progression, and it was a lot more fun to find stuff because you couldn't just like grab it from the flea. So like if you found something rare, you're like, oh, nice. That's cool. I needed that. That was cool. Guns, stuff like that. Everything you found had value, which is really, really fun. Problem is with that, casuals don't like that. Why? Because there's so much time investment in order to enjoy that. Now, I'm sure there is some casuals in the chat, in the comment sections that do like it, but I think it's just my guess. I think majority of people dislike it, but I may be wrong with that. At least from what I've seen in my chat, a lot of people like the flea market change. And then there was a lot of people that did like it, so it's really hard to tell if it's a good or a bad thing. But overall, I think the flea is good. What's the bad parts about flea market? So it is a tool used to facilitate RMT like hell. It is the bane of the existence of Tarkov. The second the flea market got added back to the game, I saw like 3 times the amount of cheaters I normally see. Why is that? Because it just allows them to like make money, real life money, easily by just selling stuff on the flea market. So let me just give you an example. Someone wanted to buy some rubles, okay? All they got to do is list an item on the flea market. The person that cheats, that has tons of money, will buy that item off that person for an overpriced value, essentially making it very easy to RMT. Now, prior to that, when there was no flea market, I don't think cheaters really... There was a lot of hackers, like, regardless, it's Tarkov. But I definitely noticed the difference. And I think what happened was, because there was no flea market, a lot of the people that cheat on this game didn't really have much more... They didn't have a lot of financial incentive for it, because it was a lot... It was annoying, right? It was annoying to do it, I think, because there's no access to the flea. The flea just makes it super easy. And that's why it's bad. It just comes to, the topic of, like, you can't balance a game around cheaters, which I completely agree with. But I'm just talking about the bad sides. This is a wormhole. This thing will go deep. It'll go so deep. So I'm just trying to give you a brief explanation on that from my experience. Basically, prior to that, I think the only way cheaters are really making money from this game were, 1, recovery services, which means someone plays in the account and does the quest for them, which definitely is bad, but I don't think it's as bad as people buying stuff through the flea market. And then number 2, carry services, which is really bad. Essentially just ruins the raid for everyone. But they do that anyway with the flea or no flea. But yeah, that's just my perspective. That's a big reason why I think the flea market is bad, is because it just makes RMT super easy, and it's not good, in my opinion, for that. But you can't balance a game around cheaters, so maybe you just have to deal with it. Who knows? Every game's got this issue. All video games right now, especially shooters, are riddled with cheaters and RMT, and it's just the byproduct of just playing first-person shooters in 2025. And sadly, we just have to accept that and move on from it, you know, or cope and mold like I do. You know, that's just how it is. So yeah, that's the topic of that, the flea market. So, how does the flea market affect the game's life cycle and health, long-term and short-term? So, this goes back to, like, this wipe. There was no flea market for 2.5 weeks. From my experience, I felt like the game had a prolonged early wipe, which was really fun, because usually we don't have that. The second people hit level 15, they're able to get familiar with the flea market, get a lot of items, get a lot of... speed up the progression, which then essentially makes early game less enjoyable because everyone is running back, you know, back to running metagear. I also do think that the no flea market for the 2.5 weeks was really fun. Now, I try to, like, have a perspective from not just my own, but for other people. Like, for example, if I didn't stream right now and I was working a normal job, I'd hate it 1000%. So I try and do this because it's important to be this way, especially when you make these type of videos. And I think a lot of people that watch my content know that I do this a lot. It's just some people choose to ignore it, but I would dislike it heavily if I worked a normal job with not having the flea market, because it's just like, damn, I got to invest more time to do stuff. This is annoying. Why? You know? And then on the other flip side is like, I get it. It's made the game more fun for someone like me. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in this comment section that also have found it fun. But then I'm also sure there's a lot of people that really dislike it because it's made the game have more time investment, which for a lot of people is an issue. And I think there needs to be some sort of line that needs to be drawn where it's like, people can enjoy it casually, but don't have to invest thousands of hours like streamers do in order to, you know, get better or, you know, have more fun or unlock new stuff. The flea market really helps this and also really doesn't. It's such a weird topic, but overall, I think the no flea market for 2.5 weeks helped the game short term, which is nice. And I also do think it helps the game long term because let's say now, 3 months from now, you've got 20 mil in your stash, you've done your quests, you've got infinite money, but you want to do a Tarkov raid, but you don't have a key, and you want to go hit a marked room, or you want to go to laboratories, and you want to loot all the loot rooms on labs. Well, thankfully for the flea market, you can buy all of those keys from the flea instantly. You don't have to spend the time to farm them in order to just do one raid of something like that. So in my sense is like, that is fun, and it makes the game more enjoyable long term, but it does also hurt the game short term. Now, it also leads back to this topic. It's just like, there needs to be a line for the casuals, the hardcores, and the streamers, and it's like, right now, there really isn't. And I do think the casual audience of Tarkov is a big portion of the player base. And the reason I say that is because a lot of you guys play PvE, and there's good reasons for that. And I don't blame you. I'm glad PvE exists. I think if you guys didn't play PvE, you probably won't be playing Tarkov anymore or interacting with it. So I do think PvE has been a very, very good thing for this game and the community overall. That's pretty much the gist of that. I think it's good long term. Short term, it's kind of good and bad. Double-edged sword. Is the flea market good for the game or bad for the game? Overall, I think the flea market is good. Like I said, it's fun. It adds a new element to the game where you can just like jump on, buy a key, go run it, sell stuff that you found in raid, make more money. But then also it is bad for the game because it's like a lot of items get devalued over time. So like, let's say for example, right, a VSS or something very overpowered, okay? There was no flea market, but you found a VSS. If any of you guys played DayZ mod back in the day, you know exactly what I'm talking about here for a second. If you found like an AS50 or an M107, that was like, holy shit, I found something so rare. I want to save it. I don't want to lose it, right? That side of the game in Tarkov loses its appeal very quickly because of the flea market. So you guys get where I'm coming from, right? It's good and it's bad. It's a double-edged sword. I don't know. I think it should stay in the game, but maybe changed a bit. I don't know. We're going to get through it in this video, okay? So as you guys know, with the flea market, there's a lot of restrictions. You can't buy high-tier ammo. Why is this? This is to prevent people from getting best-in-slot bullets, which basically means armor becomes irrelevant early into the wipe, which is good. BSG put these restrictions in overall to stop that, but I still do feel like the game just speeds up super quick because of the flea market. And like I said, guys, look, I like the flea market. Would I like it to be removed? Yes. If the things that needed to be done were done to make it enjoyable for everyone. And what I mean to that is like traders, accessibility, limits, keys, having more like ways to get them without the flea market. If you get the idea, but we'll get into that anyway later on. So yeah, the restriction of the flea market, those were there intended to like try and prolong the early game. But I also do think those restrictions make Tarkov a little bit boring late wipe, because it's like you want to get some like good stuff like an Alton or a Reese. Well, you can't. You either got to do the quest and spend hours grinding that shit to do one per reset, and then the second you've got it, you've lost it to an RGB gamer. Right? Frustrating. So I wish there was some sort of compromise for that type of content. What would happen if the flea market was disabled permanently? So if BSG just disabled the flea market right now permanently for this wipe, I think what you would see is a lot of people that play this game for fun would probably just go hop on PvE, because the PvE experience, in my opinion, is superior in many ways, different to the PvP game mode, for a majority of people. Now, there will be like-minded people in this comment section that will disagree with me for saying that, and what I mean by that is people that are just good at video games, that can just hop on and play well 24/7, no matter what game it is, will not see the appeal and enjoyment of a game like PvE, because they don't see the enjoyment of just grabbing a cool-looking build, going into raid, and shooting an AI. And the thing is, a lot of people love that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I do think that's a big portion of Tarkov's player base. And that's why there was so much outrage with the flea market being removed this wipe, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. If the flea market was removed, I think you would find a lot of people would just stop playing. It would be fun for early wipe, like a month or two, and then after the second month, people would probably get really annoyed, and it would be probably tedious because their inventories are stacked up with stuff that they can't sell. It's just a big dynamic in the game that's just removed. So if Tarkov was like a DayZ type game where everything was super, super rare and there was no flea market and they just removed it right now, I think it would be pretty cool. But the game isn't formatted that way, right? There's too much. Keys, quests, guns, everything. There's just way too much. Right now, if they just delete the flea market, in my opinion, I think it'd be terrible. Do not do it. No, don't. It's a really bad idea, in my opinion. BSG remove the flea market. What needs to happen in order to keep the game fair and fun for everyone, casuals and hardcore players? Finally, we got to the topic of the video that you guys probably want to watch. So, this is my opinion, okay, of what I think would be cool. So, let's say BSG removed the flea market now, and I had control over developing the game and making decisions. Like I said, guys, I'm not going to do that. I don't work at BSG. It's just what I'm saying, bro, okay? It's just my opinion. Don't get mad, okay? First of all, let's remove the flea market, okay? Now, we need to make a lot of changes. What changes do we need to make in order for people to want to enjoy the game casually and hardcore or whatever? So first of all, what I would do is I would make traders have way more supply of items. So when you upgrade your traders, there's more sense of like, yes, finally, I've unlocked this. This quest actually got me something really good. Increase the amount of stuff that traders sell. So like, for example, there's a lot of items that the traders do not sell in this game that are exclusive to being found only, which is kind of cool. But I do think there's a lot of stuff that needs to be back on traders if there's a no flea market game. So I think a lot of those items should come back. I would increase the stock limits of like personal stuff. So like, it's really hard because you'd have to, like these type of things you'd have to test, but I would definitely increase the limits to stuff if there's no flea market, because let's say you're doing a quest like, you know, the Ushanka quest. What is it? Setup. You need the scab vest and the Ushanka or whatever. Only been able to buy one of those per reset every 3 hours. Terrible. The flea market allows you to buy those, which is really nice. Maybe up the limits of those items so quests can be more progressed without being tedious, if that makes sense. More supply, more things that the traders sell. And I would also add more barter trade items for the traders too. So like if there was some overpowered armor, you've got to go in raid, find those items, and then you can upgrade it to a really good piece of gear. What does that do? It makes finding those items more enjoyable when you get them. Like, finally, dude, I can get this barter trade for this really good armor or helmet or gun. Definitely do something like that. That is what I would do. Another big thing, major thing, if they remove flea market permanently. Keys. Keys are like the backbone of this game for progression and like just playing. Loot, all that stuff. If it was me, I would make dog tags have a value for keys, because as you guys know right now, dog tags don't really have value. You pick them up, and depending on what level they are, you might just drop them because they don't have much monetary value to traders. They can, but it depends really on like what you've got in your inventory. And overall, I think dog tags are just useless, man. They're just quick sell value. It's lame because it's like, I feel like killing a player should be rewarding in a game like Tarkov. And why not facilitate dog tags to be that way if there was a no flea market game? So my idea would be make dog tags usable to trade for keys that you may need for quests. How you do this, I don't know. levels, maybe a certain amount of dog tags. I don't know. But you could do something really cool with this. And what this would do, it would promote more healthy PvP scenarios where it's like, it's actually worth to go kill someone while questing. Because you're like, if I kill this dude, I can use the dog tag to then buy a key for my future quest, which is essentially making PvP more rewarding for people that want to chase it. Then it's also adding more fights to the raids so that people aren't just avoiding each other to try and get out of raid quickly. And it's adding a bit more incentive. Now, I know some of you guys are like, well, cheaters are going to farm me PvP all the time. Dude, they're going to do it anyway. They don't care. They're going to take your shit. You just got to accept that. They're going to do it regardless. So just try and not think about that, because that's going to happen anyway, man. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would maybe make some sort of system for dog tags for keys. Honestly, BSG could definitely do a lot of different things. But that's just like a short idea. I posted that on Twitter. A lot of people really like that idea, but I don't know. So for another thing, so if there's no flea market, what do we need to do for gear? So if you kill a dude, right? As you guys know in Tarkov right now, if you kill someone and you pick up your armor, you're heavily penalized for picking up that armor. Why? The weight system. There is ways to get around it with like stimulants, but if there's a no flea market economy, how are you going to get those stimulants, right? It's a complication. So it's like, kill someone in Tarkov, the weight system, right, punishes you heavily for picking up their stuff. Now, if there's no flea market in the game, there's no way to get stimulants consistently, quickly, or whatever, in order to like be able to pick that stuff up, pull it out of the raid without being penalized by picking up people's loot. So how do we make that worth it? BSG, I would make, yeah, sell back to traders for way more than it is right now. So I don't really know the figure. Let's say an armor's 200k and I sell that armor back to the trader. I'm probably going to get 100k back for it, right? I feel like a good way to combat this, to make people want to pick up gear completely, is when you get the piece of gear from someone that you've killed, you actually want to pick it up because it's valuable. Right now in Tarkov, the meta is pick up attachments, maybe the gun, maybe some pieces of gear that they've got on their rig or backpack, and then leave the rest because it's too heavy. It's going to penalize you, right? So the no flea market means you can't get the stimulants, which makes it really annoying. So there needs to be some sort of solution for that as well. Like, I know you can craft, but you can't craft every single stim, and it's timers and all sorts of stuff like that. I would make the traders buy stuff back for way more than it is right now. So right now, if you buy an armor for 200k, you can sell it for 100k. Why not make that 170k? So you do make a loss when you buy an armor and resell it because you misclicked. But what that does is, when you kill someone, dog tag is going to allow you to get better keys. The armor is like, yes, dude, this guy's actually got something good. I'll pick it up and maybe attempt to hold it out of raid because it sells for a lot, which essentially means less people are leaving gear in the raids, and there's more reason to take everything, which makes raids more entertaining. So what I mean by that, let's say I've killed someone now with a no flea market game, and his backpack is full of player gear from someone he's killed. If I kill that dude and I loot him, I'm like, this guy's got crazy loot. And what that means is, the game isn't just about going in raid and searching cabinets for money. The PvP also comes with that. And those scenarios become more lucrative and more enjoyable for everyone involved, which I think would be really fun. So that's what I would do. If it's 200k armor, maybe sell it back to traders for 170k. So you're still making a 30k loss, but now what that's done is it's made the people in raid want to pick up all your stuff. There's a lot of healthy stuff for the game, like promotes PvP, and it kind of just changed up the meta too. So that's what I do. This is kind of a contradiction to the whole flea market being removed environment. But I would think it would be kind of cool to see some sort of black market. I don't know how BSG would implement this, but the idea of this would be to be like, if you found something rare, right? Like the whole idea of like, oh my god, this gun's really hard to find because there's no market to buy it off, and I got it from a boss or something. It would be really cool if there was a way to like still get monetary value from finding something rare. Now I know that's what the flea market is designed for, but obviously you can't do that, right? Because the flea market has limitations. So it would be kind of cool if there was some sort of black market in the game where it's like, you get a really rare gun, you can still sell it on a market. It's just like, how can I describe this? It's going to sell for a ton of money because it's so rare. So like, let's say, you know, back in the day when the AS-Val used to be broken, that's the type of thing that I'm talking about. Let's say you found that caliber of a weapon from back then, and it's in the game, but you can't buy it from traders, but it's super rare. It would be cool if there's some sort of black market where you could sell that on that market, and people could like bid on it maybe, or barter trade for that item. But then there is still like an element of flea market, but not really. It kind of defeats the purpose of moving the flea market, but I also feel like it would kind of add a full interaction with people finding really rare stuff, because there's still a way to get monetary gain from that item. especially if you found multiple of them, right? Like, it's just like, it's kind of cool. But I don't know. Listen, that's just a broad idea. Probably shouldn't be added, but, you know, I wish there was something cool like that, because finding like a Lapua or something and not being able to sell it kind of sucks. I feel like that'd be cool if you could sell like some really rare stuff like that. But not through the flea market, obviously. Something different, a different system. You guys can play with that idea. That's something I've always thought about that I thought would be cool. Now, as you guys know, Scavron and Arena are basically the best ways right now in the game to get progression, which is what most people do when a wipe happens. Scavron is ridiculously strong, and Arena is ridiculously strong for Rubles and like speeding up your character progression. If there's no flea market, I think these two things would also just like be a big crutch, which is good. I'm glad those things exist, because if these things weren't there, people wouldn't play. I just don't see people playing without no Scavron and a no Arena. So I think those two things in itself supplement a no flea market environment. It would be something BSG would have to test, but there needs to be so much stuff changed in order for this to be like sustainable and realistic for everyone, right? And then it comes to like, you know, another thing, endgame. Like, as you guys know, Labs is like an endgame map, but let's face it, it's just riddled with cheaters. Not really that fun. If there's no flea market, how are you going to get key cards other than like scav running? Barter trades, man, I don't know. BSG could do so much cool stuff in order to like get keys and like colored key cards. You know what would be cool? I suggested this like 3 years ago. BSG should add a quest line in the game that introduces you to the lab. And if you do all the quests, the more you do, the more different tier of colored key cards that you get. So like red room, green room, blue room. They should add like a quest line for that. And then once you've done that quest, you get the key and then you unlock a barter trade for it. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. But I think it would be kind of cool to introduce people to labs in that way. But who knows, man. Guys, this has been a bit of a rambling video. I hope it's been formatted well. I think I gave across a bit of my ideas fairly. And like I said, it's just my opinion, man. You guys don't have to agree with me, or you guys can agree with me or disagree with me. That's fine. Just keep it respectful. At the end of the day, BSG's not going to do any of this stuff. It's just a cool topic of discussion. Overall, to cut it short, do I think BSG should remove the flea market? No. If they're going to, what I've just spoken about in this video isn't something that they should do, but definitely consider... Not consider what I've considered. Get to the position where I am now. Thinking of ideas in order to like balance it so it's not tedious for everyone. That needs to happen in order to have a no flea market environment, in my opinion. You want to have people playing. But yeah, you get the idea, guys. Thank you for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and comment. I will be live every day on twitch.tv. And also, guys, if you didn't know, throughout this video, as you guys will be listening, BSG have actually added an option to give feedback now with the flea market change. So... which game mode do you play? PvP. Have you played Escape from Tarkov when the flea market was closed? Yes. Do you find Escape from Tarkov gameplay more engaging with flea market closed? Basically, guys, comment, make your vote. I think this is a really good thing that they're doing. There's a lot of stuff on here. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Guys, in the next video.